You know, I was this close to going out and watching the new Smurfs movie so I could review that because I, of course, hate myself, but I pulled back. I said, you know what, Adam? It is getting unhealthy to go to this many bad movies in a row. I need to cleanse the palate. So instead, I checked out what was trending on Netflix, which is a bit ironic to say because that's almost always absolute garbage too. But one movie stuck out like a sore pop princess, and that was K-Pop Demon Hunters. A movie that's been fluctuating between the number 1 and the number 10 spot on Netflix for 3 weeks straight. And since I am basically a teenage girl trapped inside of a middle-aged man's body, a movie about K-pop singers dance fighting their way to glory sounded right up my alley. But before I get into it, if you wouldn't mind subscribing to Adam Does Movies on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts, it's free on all platforms. It's quite a deal. I would really appreciate it because I put movie reviews out almost on a daily basis. I have live streams every Tuesday night. It's a good time here. You know what else is a good time? K-Pop Demon Hunters. Sony put this movie out, which makes me recoil back about 50 feet, but their animation department is incredibly solid so far. Doing the Into the Spider-Verse films, Mitchell's vs. the Machines, and now we have K-Pop Demon Hunters. The movie's a tinge over an hour and a half, it's rated PG, and it's full of laughs, some action, and some great pop music. If you're into that sort of thing, obviously this is kind of a situation where you know yourself pretty well, and you probably aren't going to get much from me if this is just not something you're into. But I'm a sucker for a good animated film. I'm a sucker for things that are a little quirky. I really like this studio. The animation is fantastic. It looks beautiful. Even the way that the characters interact with each other, the herky-jerkiness at times, it works wonders here. The action is incredibly fast-paced. There's a good chunk of it, especially in the early half. There's a lot of creativity here, and it goes so quick you could basically rewind and watch a few times over and probably get a couple more shots that you didn't see. It's got a little bit of that arcane look and feel in those moments. I was a fan of the Powerpuff TV show growing up, and there's a little bit of that flavor here too, especially with the main leads, which are pretty much equivalent to Blossom, Buttercup, and Bubbles. There's the unofficial leader of the group with the best voice. Then there's the angsty emo. And then there's the cute bubbly one that can throw down a mean rap when she needs to. These three have very wholesome, playful banter, and it's really fun to watch them interact with each other and their fans. Unfortunately, that's only in the first half of the movie. Now, while I do think this is a very fun watch, it does have some problems, mainly in the pacing for me in the second half. When the plot starts to open up and we spend more one-on-one time with Rumi in her little side quest that will end up being the main quest later. And it's not to say this film gets bad in the second half, it just does not sustain the crazy momentum it has in the first, jam-packed, action-filled one that not only has a lot of great scenes of fighting, but it also has some really funny moments. The plot is simple and straightforward, there's little twists here and there to keep things fresh, but it's sticking to a pretty tried and true playbook. But the concept itself is unique enough to sustain the hour and a half. What we have with this movie is an unsuspecting world that does not realize there are demons lurking just outside of their purview who would love nothing more than to rise up and suck the souls of every life form on the planet. The only thing standing in their way is a trusted trio of singers who generationally will pass the torch to the next group. And so now we have our modern divas busting out great songs that harmonize, bring people together, and create a protective barrier between worlds. And they're just about to hit that final crescendo, putting the finishing gold touches on this blanket fort that they have created. There's only one problem. The maid singer is losing her voice. Why, pray tell, is that? Well, to get into a little bit of spoilers here, this has been out for 3 weeks, you've probably already seen it. She's Blade. Part demon, part human, a daywalker. Between both worlds, she can walk, eventually. She doesn't really know her true capabilities yet, until those stripes running up her arms and neck start to become more pronounced. And this is really gonna be her Derek Zoolander moment where she looks into a puddle pondering, who am I? I don't know. Meanwhile, while this is going on up top, the Demon King below has hatched a new scheme. Not his idea, but nothing else seems to be working, so he's gonna humor this. A demon boy band is born. 5 of the hunkiest teen vag throbs rise up to earth and instantaneously win over the hearts and minds of fans. The idea here is if they can pull these fans away from our lead trio, the ladies will not be able to connect with the living souls and enforce that powerful barrier they're trying to conjure up. The rise of this new boy band and the freaking out of the three ladies is some of my favorite stuff in the film. Their song Soda Pop is stupidly catchy. There's tons of hilarious dance moves between all groups. I would have loved if the script delved more into this rivalry and less about Rumi and her plot. It's not bad per se, it's just very melodramatic and it kind of slows down the pace of the movie. And while it does spend so much time with Rumi, I think the script also falls into a lot of tropes we've seen time and time again. I thought it would be more interesting had the boy band Demons teamed up with our ladies, which would then form a supergroup. Alas, it goes more into the love story side of things. Hang-ups aside, this is still a very funny, colorful, vivid-looking film that's got enough for families to enjoy if you're into it. Obviously, not all families are gonna be like, oh, can't wait to sit down and watch a K-pop movie about these ladies who fight demons. Not gonna work for everyone. But I do think if you enjoyed Mitchells vs. the Machines, which was also on the very quirky side, and you appreciate something that, while may not be the deepest, most profound movie for families to watch, it at least has enough different going for it on the surface level to make it an engaging experience. That's what you get with K-Pop Demon Hunters. This was a fun one. My daughter absolutely loved it. My son made it almost to the end, but he was starting to check out because of the lovey-dovey stuff. Now, I mentioned this for families. As far as age goes, we are dealing with demons. We are dealing with some darker concepts, but really, it's not much. I think a 6 or 7-year-old would have no problem sitting through this. There's a couple scenes that are maybe on the creepier side for a little bit, but typically they're played for laughs after just a few seconds. My favorite is this crow with many eyes and a tiny little top hat, and this hilariously uncomfortable looking cat creature that lumbers around the screen, looks like it has a different animation frame rate than everything else. It's got that uncomfortable movement to it it's just hilarious to watch. This one moves quick enough, and if you already have a Netflix subscription, it's kind of a no-brainer to just sit down and check it out. Even if you don't have a family and you're just going solo, not a bad time. Easy enough to get through. All right, let me know your thoughts on K-Pop Demon Hunters. Probably one of the better movies I've seen this year, which is kind of depressing to say because it's not like amazing. It's just this year has been pretty garbage for movies so far. I'm starting to lose hope, people. This one's bringing me back a little bit. At least there's still creativity out there. At least there's still some real talent putting out pictures, even if it goes straight to Netflix for some reason. I want to hear from you though. Let me know if you saw this movie, if you had a good time for it, or if maybe I piqued your interest to check it out. I think it's worth a watch. Again, I would really appreciate it if you threw me a subscription on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. Just try to have fun here. Tell you my honest thoughts about movies, not a big deal. And I would absolutely love if you stuck around. There's also a notification bell on YouTube to make sure that these populate in your feed in the future. All right, that's all I have for you. Hopefully I see you next time. Take care.